Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Thanks so much, Colleen Robinson from Habitat for Humanity of Clallam County, joining us this morning to present on their programs here in our county. If you have any questions, go ahead and either raise your hand and I will call on you, or alternatively, you can put your question in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and mute most everyone there. And if this is kind of a give and take, so if that's okay with you, Colleen, I think you have slides, so I
do. You share the screen.
Shared that. So again, she's also one of our 19 board members. So Colleen, thank you for all your volunteerism and the great work you do. So take it away.
Okay, can you see my screen?
We can.
Okay, good. Hold on one second. Move this. I'll go to presenter. We'll go to standard and away we go. So thank you for the opportunity to share about Habitat for Humanity of Clallam County. For a bit of background information, there are 1,100 affiliates across the 50 states. There are 25 here in Washington State, and we also serve 70 countries around the world. Habitat for Humanity was founded in 1976 in Americus, Georgia, by Millard and Linda Fuller, not Jimmy Carter. That's one of our two biggest myths. He is our most popular volunteer, though. We now have 45 years of data on transformational impact of Habitat on our partner families. Habitat for Humanity of Clallam County was established in 1991, and we are very proud to be celebrating our 30th anniversary this year. Children that grow up in Habitat homes are more likely to graduate high school, attend college, and become homeowners themselves. Habitat Clallam was established as Dungeness Valley Habitat, and a few years later, with a desire to serve all of Clallam County, changed their name. We are currently building homes 34 and 35. In 2015, we added our repair programs to our scope of work and have served hundreds of local families through our Rally in the Alley program, which are neighborhood cleanups. Our repair programs give us an opportunity to serve low and fixed income homeowners. We can also repair and preserve the aging housing stock in our communities across Clallam County. There are many businesses under one roof of Habitat for Humanity affiliate. We have retail stores. We are a builder of new construction, home repair programs, social service, mortgage lender, affordable housing advocate, volunteer engagement, developer, fundraising and events, impact agency, and workforce training. In 2019, we started a new program it's local to our affiliate. This is not a Habitat for Humanity International program, but we started a summer build class of workforce training of residential construction. This was truly a collaborative effort towards job training in our community with a number of partners. This class was made possible by a grant from the Port of Port Angeles and a partnership with Peninsula College Construction Technology Training Program. All 8 students who registered completed the class, and they earned 5 credits towards their AA degree. Habitat homes are built with volunteers, and our family partners are required to put in 250 hours of sweat equity. 100 hours for construction on their home. Up to 50 hours can be donated by friends and family, and the other 100 hours are for classes we require our family partners to take. These include financial management, first-time homebuyer class, homeowner maintenance. In addition to participating in Habitat Clallam special events, when we're allowed to have them. This construction class has improved our building timeline, increasing our yearly production from 1 home every 12 to 18 months to 3 to 4 homes per year. Habitat serves residents that fall between 30 and 80% of the area median income, traditionally first-time home buyers that would not qualify for a conventional mortgage. To qualify for our Habitat program, residents must demonstrate a need for housing. This can be substandard conditions, cost burden, paying more than 30% of their income on housing, or families doubling up in one dwelling. In addition, they must be able to pay an affordable mortgage that goes into the revolving fund for humanity to build future Habitat homes. That's myth number 2. We do not give the homes away. They also must do their sweat equity component, which I mentioned before. Habitat has a paid construction manager, but volunteers working alongside our family partners primarily build Habitat homes. Habitat for Humanity is a hand up, not a handout. A 20-year shared appreciation schedule between Habitat for Humanity and our family partners ensures that homes stay affordable. So 2020 was a challenging year for all of us. Habitat Clallam was no exception. We closed both Habitat stores in March of 2020. We didn't reopen until May. We laid off 7 staff members during the closure. In May, we were able to bring back 5 of those staff. 2 chose not to return. But fear not, despite COVID-19 restrictions, we followed the required protocols and continued to build. In late March 2020, we received a letter of exemption from the state governor's office, allowing us to continue building as affordable housing was considered essential. So due to COVID, we were not able to partner with Peninsula College, so I reached out to our other partners. From 2019, they were all in to support Habitat Clallam in offering the class in the summer of 2020. We were also joined by some new partners like Swim Sunrise Rotary and K. Gagnon Consulting. It was reassuring that our current construction manager, Paul Arndt, has a teaching degree, so we were very comfortable with taking on this instructional opportunity. Due to COVID, we determined that a safe class size would be between 4 and 6. The students were required to take a 2-day OSHA construction safety class prior to being on the build site. We had 4 students participate last year. July 10th, 2020 was Alicia's ribbon cutting ceremony, kicking off the class. On Saturday, August 1st, we raised the walls on her home. The summer build class was a critical component to our timeline of finishing this home. The students are provided with gear and tools at the beginning of the class. Our goal at the end of the class is to empower them to be employed in the construction trade. We are incredibly grateful to our community partners for their support, both financially and through the donation of tools and safety gear for our students. After 7 long weeks of building 3 to 4 days a week, the class wrapped up with a celebration on August 21st, 2020, sorry. That was last year. Kathy is still volunteering on the build site, and I will share a little bit more about Annalisa a little bit later in the presentation. Thanks to the efforts of the build class students, our amazing construction staff, and all of our wonderful sponsors, Alicia and her daughter are now enjoying their safe, decent, affordable home. Alicia is building personal wealth and stability as well. They are establishing their permanent place in our community. Habitat for Humanity knows that safe, decent, and affordable shelter plays a critical role in helping family create lives with possibility and progress. Caught in a cycle of unpredictable rent increases, overcrowded conditions, or lack of access to land and affordable housing, many families live with a constant burden of uncertainty, stress, and fear. In 2018, our affiliate committed to a 2020 faith build. Port Angeles churches came together to raise funds and provide volunteers to build a Habitat home. Of the 34 churches in Port Angeles, 11 churches signed on to participate, raising over $60,000 collectively. We then secured a matching grant from Thrivent Financial for $60,000. The 2020 Faith Build ribbon cutting kickoff was held on July 25th, and on August 15th, we raised the walls. Kaylee, our partner family, has 3 children, 2 that are special needs. We didn't let a worldwide pandemic, supply chain issues, building material shortage, and drastically increased cost of construction materials or COVID-19 protocol restrictions deter our resolve to be sure the 2020 faith build was completed. We celebrated Kaylee's home dedication on a bright and sunny day, April 17th, 2021. Now that Alicia and Kaylee's homes are completed, we can turn our attention to the next two homes at Maloney Heights Community in Port Angeles. The site work began in April. Maloney Heights is a 14-home community, and we are now building homes 11 and 12. We will build homes 13 and 14 in 2022. We did pause one of our current builds for over 2 months due to spiraling costs of construction materials. However, thanks to ARPA funding awarded to Habitat by Clallam County Commissioners, we have restarted the second home. Hillary is overjoyed to be back on track towards her dream of home ownership. So, workforce housing, affordable housing, workforce housing. We wanted to share a slide showing you where our family partners that live in our Habitat homes work. Workforce housing is housing built to serve families that are sitting in the middle between true affordable housing and luxury housing. There are a few different versions of workforce housing. Typically, they come into play at an income level where you're serving families that earn between 50 and 80% of median income. The exact amount depends on the county and state, whatever market you're in. There are many benefits to having adequate, affordable workforce housing for working families located in a community. Workforce housing allows the critical community workers and emergency responders, CNAs, restaurant workers, hospitality workers to live in the same communities in which they work. Our third workforce training class was held June and July this past summer. We had 6 eager students that came from varying backgrounds with different motivations for participating. In the 9-week, 2-day-a-week class, our class members or students ranged in age from 18 to 23. Even though the class ended, some continue to come and volunteer. They've made a connection with our family partner, Sophia, and the mission of Habitat. Our AmeriCorps, Bree Brown, did a mid-class survey and end-class survey, and I just wanted to share what Shawnee, who I believe is 19 years old, had to say. The class has been an awesome opportunity to grow and learn, filled with positivity, knowledge, good teachers, and ample opportunity to try everything. Habitat Clallam is excited to announce the rollout of our new repair program, Aging in Place. This program is designed to empower seniors to live independently in their home through repairs, modifications, and home preservation projects. We aspire to provide them with and their loved ones with peace of mind regarding safety and autonomy. This is a testimonial from the first family that we worked with just a couple of months ago. Our Aging in Place strategy has been carefully derived from in-depth research on successful Habitat Aging in Place affiliates, non-Habitat affiliated Aging in Place programs, and Habitat Clallam's own Aging in Place experience. Through this research, we have mapped out a solid approach to helping people maintain their independence while they age in place. There are 7 steps to the process. The application is open and a rolling period. Number 2, review and choose applicants that meet our criteria. 3, our crew will assess the home and the needs of the homeowner. 4, we negotiate the scope of work. 5, we secure funding. 6, we finalize the contract. And 7, we initiate the work. To qualify for this program, one must be 65 and older, fall within 30 to 60% of the area median income, live in Clallam County, have homeowners insurance. The housing unit must be owner occupied, not a rental. They must also meet the general requirements of any family partner, such as need for service, willingness to partner with Habitat, and the ability to pay a low or no interest loan for cost of materials. Lastly, the homeowners must be current on all taxes.
And so Colleen, it's 30 to 60%. I mean, I would think if somebody already owns their home, they're over 65. Why would they, like, why not 20%?
30 to 60% is Habitat national guidelines. We find that when we go below 30%, it's a struggle for them to pay us back either for the materials or just not, yeah. So we stay at 30%. I know Julie's on here. Julie, did you want to hop in and say anything about that? Julie Eckert is our family resource manager.
Good morning. Yeah, it's a great question, Colleen, and I'm doing actually a little bit of research. We're trying to find more grant funding, and if we can do that, we will go lower in that median income because, of course, those are the people who really need our help, and that's what the program is for. Yeah. So we're working on that.
Yeah, I would just think if people just had Social Security, they would be below 30% of area median income in some cases.
Yeah, and that's what we're finding. So we're working on other sources of funding so that we can serve that population.
Gotcha. Thanks. And then, so, all right, so I'm sorry. Another question.
Don't be sorry. Go ahead.
If you took any government funding, state funding or something like that for this program, then does that kick in prevailing wages for the program? And I know there was a bill that lowered those wages for affordable housing projects. Do you find that that works and that's reasonable?
So we have a paid construction manager, which is within prevailing wages, and we work with volunteers. So that is a workaround. We are not paying them to do the work, so prevailing wage does not come in to play.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. So I am excited.
I'm sorry, even with the electricians and plumbers, you've got volunteers.
We paid licensed people to do that, and they're within prevailing wage.
Okay, but
for electrical, plumbing, and roofing and insulation. Yeah.
Okay, so but is that lower than the normal, like non-affordable rates for prevailing wages?
So we have worked with many of the same contractors for a long time, and we do different things. Sometimes they donate the labor and we pay for the materials, which is the best case scenario because then prevailing wage doesn't come in. Other times we pay for the labor, which is within prevailing wage, and they donate the materials. So it just depends.
Okay. And do they get a tax write-off if they donate?
100%. 100% they do. We give them a gift in kind tax letter, and they give it to their CPA or whoever does their books. And yes, they absolutely get a write-off.
And that doesn't go to the individual, that would go to the business.
Correct.
Like, is it more than just like a regular expense? I mean, because normally you'd be able to expense it off.
We give them the letter saying they donated labor for this project and they put a value on it. We do not.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks.
So that's between them and their tax person.
Mm-hmm.
So I am very excited to share that Habitat for Humanity is under contract to purchase 4.5 acres in Sequim, less than the mile from the center of town. This makes it an ideal location, perfect for affordable workforce housing, close to transportation, schools, shopping, childcare, and the new location of the WorkSource office being built here in Sequim. We're currently writing grants for infrastructure and development of the property. We anticipate 2 years for development and building homes. The beginning of year 3, we will initiate a capital campaign early in 2022 to fill the gap between grants and current revenue for development.
Do you have a map of where that's located by chance?
I don't, but I'll tell you, I don't have it in the slideshow. If you know where Nourish is up Sequim Avenue, South Squim Avenue. We are kitty corner from Nourish, right above Alpine Loop. And Alpine Loop is a Kitsap Housing Authority self-help home ownership community that was built back in the early 2000s. We are the plot of land right above that.
Right. Why did Kitsap do a project here?
I don't have an answer for that question. Advocacy for affordable home ownership is essential for Habitat to continue our work. Shortly before the world shut down in January of 2020, Habitat for Humanity of Washington State hosted a day on the Hill in Olympia. We met with our local representatives, Mike Chapman and Steve Theringer, to discuss the need for and how they can support affordable housing for their constituents. In February 2020, Habitat for Humanity International hosts a similar event in our nation's capital, the other Washington, for affiliates from across the US. Habitat for Humanity International Government Relations Advocacy Office works to advocate for more affordable housing at the national, state, and local levels through introducing legislation that empowers affiliates like Habitat Clallam to access funding and successfully build the future of our low-income families' lives. Our summer build class, this is a list of some of the programs that we are fortunate to be a part of, that Habitat for Humanity International has these national partnerships and we get to participate. So as I mentioned earlier, our 2020 summer build class graduate, Annalisa, is now our AmeriCorps service member as construction lead. She'll work with our affiliate for 10.5 months, logging 1,700 hours. She's paid a small monthly stipend and will earn a college voucher for $6,200 at the end of her service year to put towards student debt or to further her education. Cars for Homes, you can donate cars, boats, RVs, and direct the proceeds to Habitat Clallam. Whirlpool donates a new cooking range and refrigerator to every new Habitat home across the United States through their Gifts in Kind program. Levelor, another Gift in Kind program, donates blinds for all new builds. Home Depot is a wonderful partner supporting veteran builds and home repair programs. They also donate to our Habitat store. Grocery Outlet packs the pantry for every new homeowner before they move in, and RV caravanners travel around the country and volunteer for 2 weeks at a time at the over 1,100 affiliates across the United States. There are many ways to volunteer for Habitat besides swinging a hammer. However, on our build sites, we are following COVID protocols to keep both volunteers, family partners, and our staff safe. I'm very grateful for the people in this picture. They are volunteers and give of their time, talent, and treasure to Habitat Clallam in support of affordable home ownership. Other ways to serve are our advisory council, our committees, volunteering at our Habitat stores, special events when we're allowed to have them. Every volunteer matters. So this is our fabulous affiliate staff. We had a little celebration back in early August. Our Habitat affiliate office has 3 staff. Our Habitat stores has 8 dedicated staff, and our construction manager oversees new home builds and our aging in place repair programs. And we have 2 fabulous AmeriCorps service members. Annalisa, who I mentioned, is a construction lead, and Bree Brown does community outreach. This team of dedicated people make our programs happen for Habitat. We have 2 Habitat stores. The Habitat stores are a fundraising opportunity for our affiliate. Proceeds go towards our programs like new home builds, repair programs, and aging in place. The Squim Habitat Boutique store will celebrate 3 years in business this November. It's wonderful to be in downtown Squim and participate in events like First Friday Art Walk. Port Angeles store is entering its 12th year of operation with an outstanding staff. It's a must go to for many local customers looking for everything from furniture, lighting, building materials, tools, appliances, and more. Since our founding in 1976, Habitat has helped more than 22 million people obtain a safer place to sleep at night, along with the strength, stability, and self-reliance they need to build better lives. And lastly, questions, thoughts, ideas, suggestions.
Great. Thanks, Colleen. So one question I was thinking about, of all the different business lines that you run underneath, your team runs underneath Habitat for Humanity, which one do you think is the most impactful? Which one do you guys spend the most time on? And which one is your favorite?
Wow, those are some good questions. I have to say that Habitat is a transformational organization. We celebrate the home dedication, we give the keys, we open the door, and that's so exciting. Having been here nearly 30 years, we have transformed lives for people who were in really horrific living conditions, who wouldn't have had the opportunity now to go to college themselves as homeowners, to send their children to college. So definitely the construction is exciting. I also think the store is very impactful in our world of, you know, buy new, reduce, reuse, and recycle. I don't have the number in front of me, but it was something like 650 tons that we kept out of the landfill in 2020, thanks to our Habitat store. So I'm really proud of the store and the staff and what we do there. What was the last question? What's my favorite?
And so I thought you answered that one first.
Yeah.
Which one do you spend the most time on? Your staff,
Yeah, that's a good question. So we're pretty lean and mean. I have a fabulous leadership team. My leadership is the store manager who oversees both stores, and Julie Eckert, who is on here, my construction manager and bookkeeping. And so I spend a lot of time on a lot of them. But I have fabulous team that I delegate to, and I think Julie would agree, I'm not a micromanager. You know what you need to do and you get it done. So I spend a lot of time overseeing a lot of it. Sometimes I think my staff thinks that my job is just to make sure everybody's doing their job, but I really have a job, which is fundraising and moving the organization forward, and you know, advocacy and those kinds of things. So that's kind of interesting.
So I see Darlene has a question. Darlene, do you want to ask your question?
Sure, thank you. So do you try to build to green building standards or any
Sure.
other particular standards that you have?
Yes, Habitat for Humanity International has come out with new construction standards. And yes, the answer is evergreen building standards are the wave of the future. In addition, if you go for any government funding, you also have to build to evergreen building standards. We build to Energy Star standards right now, so our houses are very tight and energy efficient. My construction manager and my construction committee chair, who also serves on my board, would love for us to look into, with this new project we're working towards, some demonstration of solar panels and some different things that we could do as we're moving forward and planning this next community. So the short answer is yes.
Great. And Kay, you had a question?
Yes, I'd also like to brag on Habitat, and because Colleen is also Rotarian. So I am a member of the Rotarian Vocational Committee, and we're working on getting our construction curriculum back in the high school. And Colleen has strategically purchased property that will enable that. So we're looking forward to our Squim High School getting their construction curriculum started again, fall of 2022, 2023. OSPI worked with AGC, which is a major construction union, and they've developed package curriculum. It's fantastic. It's a 4-year program. So our goal this year is to really work with 8th grade parents and students to get our students into that curriculum track. It's going to be an awesome way to develop some workforce. So thank you, Habitat, for providing that opportunity.
So a couple more questions about that. So AGC, Associated General Contractors, I've worked with them quite a bit over the years, and they typically represent contractors, but they coordinated with the BIAW, Building Industry Association of Washington, to create the curriculum for a 4-year program in the high school? And is that CTE? And is, compare and contrast that program to Core Plus?
So I can't compare and contrast to Core Plus, but I can tell you that BIAW prefers and has advocated both programs, what AGC came up with, and there's also a National Housing Association that there's curriculum for. A SQUIM school district chose the one that AGC helped develop with OSPI. So there's, all sorts of credits for going with what OSPI likes. So both curriculums were fantastic. It's just the one that SQUIM school district selected.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so
they do work together. I'm in BIAW, and so
Okay.
there's collaboration. They're not
Mm-hmm.
not
So
unaware.
Is it where, normally when you have Core 24 and you've got these different classes that a kid is required to take in order to get their graduation certificate, have they met, do they have like a instead of a writing class, a technical writing
Yes.
class?
Okay, so the pathways is why we're trying to get to 8th graders so that they can get all their curriculum thought through, scheduled, and yes, all these curriculum will provide STEM writing. It's all networked, so yeah.
Okay. And are you working with the counselors to help them with that?
Yes. So it's the plan for this year is work with the 8th grade counselors, students, parents, and then the high school counselors to really help guide students that have the interest. Last year, we put out a feeler. We had 15 students in 8th grade that without any kind of advertisement, just a question, 15 students wanted to start the curriculum. So we were really excited about that.
Okay, great. So how many kids can you take in that class?
Don't know. There was a minimum of 5 to get it started, and we way exceeded that. So,
okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I see Jeannie Beckett is on. She is she worked for the Port of Tacoma for decades as one of their directors, and she's been doing a lot of consulting with different local governments across the state, and I'm guessing has seen a lot of different programs in different communities. Jeannie, can you comment on this program relative to what you've seen? She lives in Gig Harbor, what you've seen in other areas? Or have you walked away from your phone and you don't hear anything I'm saying? I think the latter might be true. Darn. Anyway.
Sorry, am I there?
Yes, you are.
I'm
yes.
sorry, I was talking and I looked down and it said I was muted, so I apologize. This is a great presentation. I know that Bruce and my husband, have participated financially in Habitat, that he's an ex-Weyerhaeuser employee and they're doing a big fundraiser with their ex-employees or retirees to build homes. We haven't been on site. We haven't done the OSHA requirements to, participate yet, but that is part of our plan. What I'm curious, I think it was last week or the week before, Colleen, you had the builders on that said they were having a problem with supply chain. Are you having that same, you referenced that you have Home Depot and I think it was Whirlpool. Are they having the challenge of getting your appliances to you so that you can get occupancy? Or
100%. 100%, yeah. So trusses typically take 4 to 6 weeks. They took 11 weeks. Whirlpool was having supply chain issues and maybe substituting. You guys buy the stove and we'll send you dishwashers because we have more dishwashers than we have stoves right now. I would like to give a shout out to Interfor, our local mill. They have donated all of the framing lumber for the last 6 houses we have built. And so making those kind of community partnerships and collaboration. On the same vein, Herman Brothers donates topsoil when we finish every single house. They donate the topsoil to go out on the houses so that we can get our occupancy permit and have seating down. So our local people are super supportive. Hartnagel's and Angeles Mills work basically sells to us at wholesale or a very small markup. And it's really great to be able to support those local businesses, but they're having the issue getting the product too. When we built Kaylee's house, the Faith build, we were paying around $22 for a 9x4 sheet of OSB, which is used to be about $4 a sheet way long ago. When we were ordering for Sophia's house, the house we're doing now, it was up to $129. So that caused us to pause Hillary's because we
Yes.
could not
A big
sustain,
pause.
yeah, two houses. However, I see that Commissioner Johnson's on here, who has been a huge champion along with all the commissioners, but Commissioner Johnson has really spearheaded affordable housing. How do we get more housing? How do we get more people housed? And the ARPA funding allowed us to restart Hillary's house. So very, very appreciative and exciting.
Haven't the costs gone back down though?
They are coming down on some things, not everything. There are still some things that we bought last year that, you know, were not very expensive. And so it just depends. So 80% of the resin in the United States is made in Texas. So think about PVC pipe and tub surrounds, and that was the plant that where they had the cold snap and everything froze. So not only could they not produce, but it clogged up all of their entire system in the entire plant. So they had to almost rebuild their infrastructure to start making resin again to get out to the United States. So there are a lot of things that resin goes in that you would be surprised at that we can't get right now.
To include windows, I understand, to seal windows. Right now, if you order windows that are not typical standard sizes, it's between a 12 and 16 week wait to get those windows. Where
our exterior doors are 45% more than we paid a year ago, and windows are more than double than what we paid a year ago. So it makes it a challenge to keep affordable housing affordable.
So if you were going to build a typical house and it was, and what would the construction package cost before and now, how much has that gone up?
So our single family, 3-bedroom, 1 bath, very rectangle, very safe, decent, affordable, modest, was running us between 100 and 120,000. That's all in materials, contractors. That's basically what it was running us. Now we're probably looking on Sophia's house at about 160,000. We're hoping with Hillary's house restarting that the prices coming back down will be closer to around 130,000. And we're hopeful that prices, you know, will go back down. I don't think they're ever going to go to what they were pre-COVID, but we're hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
And does that, so that's your purchase price in the sense of on top of, so I'm not saying this very well. So you told us all about the volunteers, you told us about the donations. So the numbers that you just quoted us, that's before all of that additional
So in order,
or is it kind of a weighted average.
Right. So our land was donated. Maisie Maloney many years ago made a donation to Habitat, and the board back then chose to buy land. So we don't have to include the cost of the land of their lot in the house when we're pricing it to keep it affordable for the families. However, when we get those donated lumber from Interfor or the dirt or the different things, we do include the gift in kind in the cost of the house. Because what if a family partner had a family member or a friend who was a roofer and donated the roof, and we got to take $15,000 off of the house? It would skew the neighborhood in the costs of the house if we didn't add those things in, even if they were donated. It's a gift in kind. So the pricing that I said at 120, that was contractors, because we do pay contractors,
Right.
electrical, plumbing, roofing, and our cost of materials.
Thank you.
So I saw a couple comments / questions in the chat. Debbie mentioned that HVAC units are 2 to 3 months out right now. Is that all types? Is that, and do you guys ever do mini splits, or is that too expensive?
We do mini splits, and
Okay.
so the person that we're working with right now has some in stock, and they're dedicated to our 2 houses. Yay! I don't know what the future holds as far as that. Who knows? We have actually Habitat affiliates across the country that are talking about regionally coming together and buying their own mill and milling their own lumber. I mean, that's like a real thing that could happen, because it's very frustrating to be, at the mercy of this market and have limited funding.
Yeah. So when you work with Interfor, do they have the decision-making authority locally, or do you have to go up and get that approved at their corporate headquarters in Canada?
So Interfor does have on their website a very basic, simple form that you fill out, which I did, and I wasn't getting a response. So I went to Dave Lowry, who is the plant manager here. And he's like, we're all in. And it made it in their newsletter, which they do a fabulous newsletter and some really great social media. And now Interfor down in Aberdeen is partnering with their Habitat. And so it's spreading out. They are very supportive of Habitat on their webpage. And I just wasn't getting a response, so I went local.
So you've built then only in city limits, or have you also been building out in the county?
100% city limits, and that is really for our homeowners that may not have personal transportation. It's just better to be within the city limits. If we build in the county, then we're looking at putting in sewer, the big
Wells,
the wells and all that. And it does make it more remote for our family partners and more of a challenge for them to get around. So far, this affiliate has only built within city limits. There are affiliates that build in county limits, and
Can the cities waive any fees, or have they? Do they have
they? Yes, they can. In my humble opinion. So here's what I will say. A building permit in Port Angeles, and I've said this before, I write a check for about $8,000 every new house that we start. However, our family partners in Port Angeles pay a much higher utility cost to the city of Port Angeles than what our families pay to the PUD in our other areas. So you're either going to get the money up.
Wait a minute, for when you say utility, you're talking power then?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so our families who live within Port Angeles city limits and pay their utility power bill to the city pay more than Sequim residents who pay to the PUD.
That shouldn't be the case, because actually the city of Port Angeles does not fall under the Independent Energy Act, because they just are under that threshold of, and so normally residential power rates are slightly more from Clallam PUD than the city of Port Angeles. However, I know with sewer and water with the city, because of the combined sewer overflow, that's the piece that's super expensive in the city of Port Angeles.
Correct.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
I'm
So-
saying utility as altogether, you were being more specific
okay,
in breaking it out. So
okay.
impact fees in SQUIM are going to be about 22 to 25,000. I was recently invited to apply for City of SQUIM ARPA funding for this project that we're working on, and would ask to apply that to the impact fees. There's also the House bill money they could use, and there's other tax dollars, and I don't remember the bill number. There are things that the city could do to mitigate fees to affordable home builders. It's a matter of whether or not they choose to. And that's a council decision, not a staff decision. The council would have to vote for that to happen.
Mhm. And from what I've gathered with council, they would be supportive of that. That's what I've been hearing, but they often defer to staff and that process. So I'm going to do some follow-up.
I'm going to keep advocating.
I'm going to do some follow-up.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Does anyone else have any questions? If I missed anything here?
I think I answered. I had the questions printed out. I wanted to make sure I answered them all.
Can you use Habitat for Humanity donated goods to build the homes, like doors, windows?
We do not.
You do not? Okay.
No, we will use them for our repair program. We do not use them on the new home builds.
And is that because of the requirements for new home builds, getting a permit and that kind of thing? Yeah, they often don't meet the standards for energy efficiency and that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you have friends or relatives or a neighbor that is in their home and you think they may need a little hand up, not a handout, please share about Aging in Place. I have been writing grants for that. We do have a little bit of funding and some flexibility. I also mentioned sweat equity, and just so you know, we're not going to make some 75-year-old out there chip and paint away on the exterior of their house. We can be very flexible in what their sweat equity is, unlike our new construction program. And so we've had people bake cookies for the volunteers, or we can get pretty creative what their sweat equity is, but we do want them to have skin in the game and to be a part of the process.
Yeah, it's a fabulous program. I wish we could somehow scale it. I mean, so to build a home and to do this, it is so incredibly impactful for these people. I mean, it's beautiful. They suddenly have equity in a house. The method for people in the United States that grows net wealth at a greater rate than any other process out there. But it's just, it's such a big undertaking for one home, and you can understand why. Do you see any way to be able to scale this? Like, could you do a multifamily project and have an 8-plex and it then become a condo, and then people would own, and you could have 8 families suddenly have some home equity?
Sure. So a couple of things that come into play are zoning, because we're building within city limits right now, and scale. As I mentioned, I have a staff of 13, 2 of which are AmeriCorps and will be leaving. So I have a pretty thin bandwidth. And then of course, there's also funding to make that happen. I feel so grateful for all of the community partners that we have, what Peninsula Housing Authority does, what Serenity House does, Sarge's Place, all of us are trying to fill the gap to the best of our ability within the bandwidth of our organizations. There are, Seattle, Tacoma, they do air condos. And so, yeah, there are bigger affiliates that are doing that in bigger, larger markets. It could happen here. It would be great if it happened here. But I don't see that in the foreseeable future. I'm already pushing the city for upzoning on that property right now. It's zoned as PRD, planned residential development, which I could do some stick built and some fourplex townhouses. It could be mixed. I want it to be 10 fourplex townhouse units and house 40 people. So I'm already lobbying the city for upzoning. And then Rick Dickinson asked, Habitat Clallam serves all of Clallam County. So the Aging in Place program is all across Clallam County. We are a bit challenged right now to serve the Forks area due to geography and lack of staff. I mean, it's a whole day to send somebody out there even for a 2 or 3 hour job. But yeah, we serve people outside of city limits for Aging in Place.
So Sig Tama, that owns Pacific Northwest Lumber, which produces, it's a cedar mill. He has got 13 acres and is building workforce housing essentially in Forks, and is in the process of that. And the Clallam EDC gave him a grant for about $3,500 so that he could do a soils analysis. And, at the point where he hadn't decided if he was going to do this process or not, to take some of the risk out of it, we gave him that grant, and it is in an opportunity zone. So it will be an investment for him, but he is targeting homes around the 200,000 mark. So that's pretty exciting. And he was trying to get more upzone with the city of Forks as well. But so, and I understand to change zoning, the process is that you have to modify the comprehensive plan, and that's done once a year.
It's being done now for SQUIM, and so I have started the lobbying. The intention is they're working on their comprehensive plan now, and it will be voted on in January when the new council, whoever those newly elected people are taking over. So a little bit interesting, the people who are writing are not necessarily the people who will be voting on it.
Okay.
Yes, we do. Carla Richardson absolutely can collaborate with the tribes for Aging in Place. Have had a couple of conversations. I think Julie is having a conversation with the LWOW or someone. Maybe I'm making that up, but you're
making it up.
Okay, I made it up, but we could definitely partner with the tribes. We'd be happy to.
Yeah. Okay, and Colleen, have you applied for the Lifeboat 3 grant yet?
No, because I don't know that we qualify because we've gotten other funding.
Okay, well,
we got PPP funding. Yeah.
Oh, the second round?
Mm-hmm.
A second round.
Yeah, thanks to your connection.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, good.
Good job.
Right.
I would there's 2 minutes left, and I would just like to say, I do serve on the EDC board, which I'm very proud to do, but these coffees with Colleen have been a lifeline to our community. I have learned more through these every week than I would have ever learned in my busy life pre-COVID. And I would just like to give a round of applause to Colleen for doing these, for continuing to do these, for bringing such impactful information to the community in such a concise and easy way to access it. So I applaud you and thank you very, very much for Coffees with Colleen. I hope they don't ever go away.
Thank you very much. I am pretty excited about one that is either going to be October 7th or September 29th. So we're continuing our really important housing series, and we'll have property managers on next week. But Thor Kalistad, who is the CEO of a company called Mino Carbon, is going to join on either the 29th or the 7th. And he is starting up a business. They are well-funded. They are going to be located in Port Angeles. They're going to have about 50 employees. But what they do is make biochar from residuals in the forest. So chips and sawdust and hog fuel and slash. And they then will sell that biochar that has a lot of different uses. It's great for agricultural lands, but then it is also can be put into concrete, and it has then creates an R factor, and also stormwater projects. And the Department of Ecology is now creating some Washington Administrative Code, WAC, to require that to be used. And they will be selling renewable energy credits, and they will be generating about 10 megawatts of power. So that's a cool one that's coming up that we've been working on for quite a while. And they've finally, said, okay, yeah, it can be more public. So, and another mill in Forks is that one. They've been working with Interfor to get that up and running with a large diameter mill. So yeah, we're pretty excited about both of those new businesses that have been a long time coming, getting them, getting that moving along. So, Colleen, what you guys do at Habitat for Humanity is just amazing, especially when you went into the workforce piece. I just was like, wow, she is an engine. That group is an engine. This is really great. So thank you for everything you guys do. And we're really proud and happy to be partners with Habitat. It's an amazing organization. And when I retire someday, I'll probably give some of my time to that or Boys and Girls Club. So, but not yet.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great Wednesday.
Thank you.
Reach
Bye,
out
guys.
if you have any questions anytime, or check out our website, habitatclallam.org.
Great.